One day, players who were exploring the Cosmodrome stumbled across a cave in the Skywatch area. I'm sure this started out as something simple, you know, like a kill hive enemies bounty, but quickly grew in sheer glory as enemies just kept on spawning. Trust me, a video about the infamous loot cave will be made one day, but for now, this cave gave us all hope in getting an exotic. Alright, I'm finally doing it. Looter shooters have always had a place to get some shiny loot to drop, whether it be from one boss over and over or from cheesing everything in the game. If a player wants something, they will try to get their gamer fingers on it by any means possible. Why did I even write that? What's a gamer finger? We've covered puzzles that have taken over 4 years to solve, puzzles that have had exotics that never existed. But never have we covered something that took almost no time to get the best guns in the game. Let's be real, players want the loot in Destiny, but not every player gets that loot via intended or traditional means. Sometimes players just want to shoot their favorite exotic without going through the folly Bungie wants them to go through. Sometimes Bungie even jumps the gun and gives players a gun for doing something they should have done the quest for. Yeah. Cheese has always been a thing for the Destiny franchise though. It's like a staple. We got your cheddars, we got your gorgonzolas, we got your goudas, you know, cheese has been everywhere in Destiny. And to go with that cheese, there has definitely been some places to farm loot over the years. But one place was the most notorious and has now gone so far in the Destiny community folklore that it's going to be a dungeon with Bungie's 30th anniversary pack coming in December of this year, or 2021 if you're watching this in the future. One place that defied all laws of loot. The place that made every Destiny player hate Cryptarch tentacles. There have been many that have tried to replicate it, and its legacy has made every game that had a great place to farm loot look silly. Enough gassing it up at this point. Let's meet the loot cave.
Get there first try, dude! I'm standing on the plate!
NT, it's you! NT, it's you! NT, it's you!
Let's go!
Yo, shout out to Raid Secrets, man.
Some footage in this video is from players around the community. Their links will be in the description of this video, as well as the music.
Vanilla Destiny 1 was a wild ride of not getting what you wanted, especially in the exotic department. We can talk about how exotics come in various easy ways nowadays, and one could argue they have lost a lot of meaning, especially compared to what they used to have, being given out for even using money on in-game rewards too. I mean, hey, I'm not complaining, and I appreciate all the people nice enough to use their subscriptions over on Twitch, but the point remains that the times have really changed. There were 3 main avenues back in those days: Nightfalls, Raids, Xur, and pure RNG. RNG falls into all of these, of course, and none were guaranteed. Hell, the game was based so heavily on RNG that exotic bounties could even drop from turning in regular bounties to the vendor. No chance most players were getting a shot at the famous exotic chest in the Vault of Glass, and Nightfalls had players sitting in corners cowering in fear, slowly ticking down bosses until they inevitably got legendary armor after spending 3 hours beating just one. Xur was your only other option for exotics, and he was RNG on top of RNG because you needed a currency that was only found in Destiny 1 called Strange Coins. These bad boys were also RNG and only dropped in the wild from killing enemies. Some golden chests also could drop them, or as a reward for completing the Nightfall for the week. Did I also mention that activities like Nightfalls were not farmable? Strange Coins took the whole week to even get enough to buy one thing from Xur. No Prison of Elders was even in Destiny yet, so you couldn't farm Strange Coins. Xur had an inventory of random exotic armor pieces per character, and one weapon for the week with an engram that had an exotic for Motes of Light, another currency from Destiny 1. It's weird talking about these currencies and seeing how far the series has come since, and there are times that I miss more currencies with a healthy economy in Destiny. Maybe the Witch Queen will do this? Who knows? Leave a comment if you'd like to see that happen. Xur had an incredibly specific inventory of exotics every single weekend, and was a mystery for those first few weeks too, since nobody had the coins and everyone wanted that PvP Slayer Red Death, and skipped Gallahorn. Good one, Evan. Out to the wilderness people went to farm gear. There was no clear path in vanilla Destiny, just every player for themselves, and not a ton left to do except PvP, and enjoying the mystery of seeing a higher leveled player and an exotic. Everyone was just happy to be there, or not so much according to the reviews pouring in for Destiny. Critiques of story, activities, voice acting, just a general outcry for people that wanted Bungie to make another Halo type of game. Well, for the players that stuck around and were caught drifting, everything changed when they found this video.
You just continuously kill these waves that spawn over and over and over again, and then all of your things are in like one little collection bowl right inside that cave for you to run up in there and get, I'd say about 10 or 15 Ingrams per 10 minutes or so.
Pwnstar posted this video, and it opened up the floodgates of loot cave talks. Word traveled like a wildfire, and all of a sudden, forums were flooded with posts about this wonderful cave full of engrams. There had been other spots in talks for the quote-unquote best farms, but this video set off a chain reaction amongst the Destiny community and coined the name Loot Cave. It quickly became my go-to spot as a senior in high school, and it quickly became everyone's spot to farm for engrams in Destiny. Yeah, the second you saw XX or ZZ, any name, number, symbol, fraternity, sorority, grandma, hello, anyone and everyone who owned a copy of Destiny was here shooting into a cave, killing some hive and collecting all the green, sometimes blue, the rare chance purple, most of the time ascendant energy or shards. Exotic engrams weren't a thing back then, but damn, that mystery element of Destiny was so alive that I can remember spending all my time hoping for that what if chance at exotic engrams. You had a whole dynamic of people too. While Grandma F 1997 and I were shooting into the cave, some little babies were sitting at the back watching and profiting. Some even went as far as rubber banding their controllers so that they didn't get booted. Ah yes, it wouldn't be Destiny without the AFK farmers to go with the actual farmers. So much loot was dropping from this little cave that it started to catch the eye of the Big B. There was a whole business at play. You kill the hive drop the engrams, you take those engrams to Rahool and you get some loot in exchange. Everyone profits, the Big B doesn't have to know. Now the only problem is that Rahool would absolutely fuck you on the drops, to the point where I think if players could, they would have beat him until he turned into handsome Rahool.
I went through hell and back to protect the last city on Earth and everyone in it, including your blue ass, and all I get for it is a fucking armband that's 20 light levels lower than the one I've already got?
That's a rare specimen.
Rahool was so random that your blue engrams could be a blue weapon, or armor piece, or a legendary. That's nice. Or a green. Not nice.
Okay, so yesterday I saved up 14 legendary engrams, guys. I went and I identified all of them, and I got 8 blues and 4 greens.
Or on the go buy a lottery ticket after chance, that precious exotic was yours to play with. Fun fact, have you ever looked up the word engram? Engram in Scientology, and everyone knows Rahool is a Scientologist, of course, is a detailed mental image or memory of a traumatic event from the past that occurred when an individual was partially or fully unconscious. Listen, that describes what this dick gave all of us. Wait a second, out of context, that sounds so bad. Getting these engrams to be at the tier you wanted or higher is exactly why Rahool's assholery, that's not even a word, I think I made that word up, was cranked to 11. One cave gave Destiny players all that power, and no matter the results of the engram, one thing was in common.
We don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
Because the mystery and the excitement of new exotics and the world of Destiny was at our fingertips. Looking back at it now, there could have been better spots out there for more loot, but seeing as most people who bought the game would make their way out here anyways, meant that the discoverability of the spot was incredibly high. Also, why were the enemies dropping so much loot? Destiny in its original state had enemies dropping engrams like crazy, and it wasn't geared towards activity completion or special enemies to give loot. Just about anything could drop everything. Some people even thought it was so good that it must have been cheating. Well, I guess these players that accused the loot cave of cheating eventually got their way, and the Big B tried to take down the loot cave in a sting operation. I guess Grandma F 1997 was working for the Big B the whole time. Damn it, Grandma! In an update on September 25th, 2014, only 6 days after the loot cave operation was in full swing, the Big B took it down. 6 days is all it took for the Big B to catch this operation, shut it down, and reduce the drop rate of engrams in the open world. And they wiped mission rewards as well as reducing the respawn rate of all the hive that came out of that cave. The cave was, of course, now dead, and everyone collectively poured one out for the original loot cave. Homages and Easter eggs were made.
You're a mean one, Master Rahool. You're a mother freaking troll. You've decrypted many engrams, yet not one I have is gold, Master Rahool. You're a sad blue man without any soul.
Now, the loot cave is a famous thing in, obviously, Destiny. So the creators here of Dying Light decided to kind of poke fun at that and created their own little loot cave here, where you're going to have several waves of spawning zombies, but you're just going to go ahead and kill all these waves of enemies, and once you're done with this little event, you actually get some XP.
Bungie would even place an homage to the loot cave with a lore scannable with this line.
1,000 deaths isn't enough for using code F in an advanced GG. Link is in the description.
No, that's the uncommon shameless line. No, I think it went a little something like this.
A million deaths are not enough for Master Rahool.
Listen, buddy, we love you always, and with that new dungeon coming out, we'll finally find out what had been hiding under you all this time. Ladies and gentlemen in the comments, please collectively pour one out for our loot cave. Now that Bungie is gone, there was actually new caves popping up all over the place. The main cave may have been locked down, but now a new one was on the Cosmodrome, on the moon, on Venus, on Mars. Every destination had a new operation going, and this time, no shot, Bungie was catching them all. Sometimes when you fly too close to the sun, you get burned. And in this case, the ship that was the loot cave flew too close to the sun. But the escape pods were off to new places, and now every single year in Destiny, including Destiny 2, there has been a loot cave ever since. Anything that has enemies in a room and engrams drop, there is going to be a loot cave there. But nothing will compare to that very first time. And now, I hope you understand that feeling. Bungie would completely revamp Rahool's drops in the future to not allow for blues to drop from purples. And like I said, nowadays, things are a lot different. So different that Bungie will even have the brand new dungeon for their 30th anniversary take place inside the loot cave. Gjallarhorn is even a guaranteed drop from it. A Thorn-inspired armor set too? Yeah, this looks like a banging dungeon. I seriously cannot wait to see what they do here, and I want to know what you guys think about Bungie turning the loot cave into a dungeon. Good? Bad? Will the boss be Master Rahool? Or will it be Taniks again? Please God, never let it be Taniks again. You know what? If Taniks ever returns one day, I'll make a whole video about every single time Taniks showed up. I promise I will. Anyways, gamers, that is the loot cave, and I hope you got something from this video. Whether it be a sort of look back on memory lane or something to look to prep yourself for the new dungeon, maybe to learn about the sting operation, or maybe you just like my voice. I don't know, but I love all of you that take the time to watch these videos. Like, seriously guys, you mean the world to me, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Please, enjoy some bloopers, watch my streams on Twitch, join my sting operations, I can't believe I wrote that into the script, on the Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, second channel, and Discord. Anyway guys, have a wonderful rest of your day, enjoy some bloopers, and take it easy.
I think. Yep. Nice. You just missiled them. Holy shit.
Oh my god!
That is amazing.
I'm the best!
Can't wait to not get Vex again.
Please, man. Please. 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 This game sucks.
Exotic engram, is that?
Oh my fucking god.
You got it.
Advancement core? Are you kidding me?
It's 3 symbols, so it's 3 houses. 3, 3, 3, 3.